All right. I do not own the rights to this music.
Here locally in the community. Make sure y'all go check out Kneecap Body by Jeremy Smokin.
All right. It's the Lions post-game show on Kneecap Biting with Smokin Jeremy B. I have Leonard here with me. We're going to talk about this pitiful game that was played on Sunday. The Detroit football Lions, if you want to call what they played on Sunday football, went to New England and laid a goose egg. Can I say it any better than that there, Dan?
Get shit to bed.
Yeah, let's see what they did. This is what they did. The Lions blow it again. Statistically, it wasn't as bad as it sounds. I mean, if you look at the statistics, I'm going to pull them up again because this is ridiculous that the score was this lopsided. The Lions had 312 total yards. The Patriots 364. 211 passing yards for Detroit. 188 for New England. 101 rushing yards for the Lions. 176 with the majority of it going to Ramondre Stevenson. 4.9 yards per play for the Lions. 6.5 yards for the Patriots. 17 first downs for the Lions, 22 for the Patriots, 4 of 12. They were 3 of 9. We forced 2 punts. They forced 2 punts. I didn't even know we punted the ball. That's how bad it was. 0 for 6. 0 for frickin' 6 on fourth down efficiency. Penalty yards, 7 for the Lions and 82 yards. 6 for 46 for the Patriots. 1 fumble loss, 1 interception thrown. They had an interception thrown. Time of possession, they had it 31 minutes, 29 seconds. We had it 28 minutes and 39 seconds. Just looking at the stat line alone, the score should have been like 17-29.
Yep.
But no, we went 0 for 6 on fourth down. Conservative play calling is what Dan said was going to happen in this game on Friday, and we got none of that.
Nope.
And you could say hold people accountable. Here's my cold players. MCDC, Aaron Glenn, and the entire frigging team. Anybody disagree? Do you disagree, Dan, at all? Oh, he must have a phone call coming in.
No, I had to take the dog out real quick.
Oh, okay. Do you disagree with what I just said?
No, I do not. The entire team was freaking cold, and blame should start right at the top.
Key stats, 0 for 6 on fourth down. 2 of those should have been punts. 4 of them should have been field goals, or field goal attempts at least. And now we are 7 of 18 on the season with this aggressiveness on fourth down, and it's starting to wear. Not just on me, on a lot of fans. It's getting ridiculous.
Yep. And you know what? Other teams now expect him to go for it on fourth down, so they're ready for it.
Right. And they know we're going to run it on fourth down because they're not going to pass it. That 4th and 19 draw play again. My rant after this game is, why even have special teams on the roster if you're not going to fucking use them?
100%.
We have one of the best punters in the league. No matter where he punts from, he seems to pin teams into the 20-yard line. Make them drive the entire field. I'm not saying we'd have stopped them, but it might not have equaled points.
And it would have 8 o'clock. You not give him another possession.
Right. And then the 4 times, the longest field goal we'd have been attempting was 52. Badgley does have a 59-yarder on his resume. Yes, he's 3 of 10 on over 49 yards, but the fact he's an 80% kicker overall means that he's very accurate under 50 yards. There was only 1 field goal over 50 yards that would have been attempted.
It means you give him a chance.
Right.
You guys even have coach?
I will be the first to say I got sucked into the Hard Knocks hype. I was 6 to 7 wins, then all of a sudden brought me into the hype, and against my own logic. Maybe Campbell bought into it too. I am back to my original, and I own my mistake. I am now that kid that burned both hands on the stove. Great comment, Eric Sean.
Mm-hmm. It's 100% right.
It is. And I said it in my article, which should be posting anytime soon here on the South Florida Tribune under Motor City Tribune. We all, as fans and the national media, bought in on the Honolulu Blue Kool-Aid this year because of Hard Knocks.
100%. Let me ask you this, because I'll tell you exactly what Hard Knocks Dan Campbell seems like to me right now. And that's a snake oil salesman.
Dan Campbell, I want an extension. Earn it. That's all I got to say. Earn it.
I love whoever decides to use those different names.
Yeah, so do I. I mean, they're fun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only guys that showed up on defense that I saw, Hutch attempted to get pressure. Aleem and Isaiah Buggs looked good off the defensive interior. Buggs had a play where he got a sack, but it was called back due to a PI, which sucked, or a defensive holding, whatever it was. I think that was on Mike Hughes. I want one too. Yeah, I want you gone. But anyways, I am not done with Campbell, but his in-game decisions have me questioning. It does me too. Why sign a kicker that's 80% for his career? That's exactly the same as Matt Prater. Zakwa, do you think we'll be picking in the top 5 again? It's crazy how this has gone off the rails since being up 2 scores on the Vikings. We knew the defense was the Achilles heel of this team going into the season. We knew we were weak at linebacker. We knew we were weak at safety. Losing Tracy Walker for the season was probably the biggest blow this team did not need. Romeo Okwara healing at a snail's pace, as Dan Campbell put it, that's not helping either. We got a $13 million DN/linebacker that can't play a fucking game. And I said we overpaid when we did it because that was his only year with double-digit sacks, and we overpaid.
I agree with you completely on everything you just said right there.
You're still the worst coach in Lions history, in my opinion. At least Dan Campbell has the players playing hard for him. But we didn't see it this week. I think they made it too personal, trying to get a revenge against Matt Patricia, is what it was. I'm flabbergasted. I'm disgusted. This was embarrassing.
Yes. I completely agree with you, JB. There's no way what happened should have happened.
You guys can get mad at me for being down. I have a reason to be down. The only thing I wanted was a Lions win for my birthday. Ask Dan Leonard. I said it twice last week.
Yep. Yes, you did.
And if I lose subscribers for being blunt and honest, so be it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This was awful. That being said, going forward, we need to get this bye week to get healthy. It's great timing for the bye. We got players coming back off the pup that are desperately needed because we need depth on that D-line. We need somebody other than Hutch to get past the O-lines, to take the pressure off of him, because right now he's the only one that does it consistently on the team.
Has Charles Harris done anything all year yet?
Charles Harris has been hurt. He didn't play this game.
I know he didn't play this
But
week.
yeah, he hasn't done much either. He did have a sack, I think, in the Vikings game. I love Campbell. He makes it hard not to, but that isn't the solution. It's bandaging a bullet wound. I'm glad he's trying to change the mentality. We need a coach, not Dr. Phil. But I am not done with Campbell. He just needs to stop the dumb decisions. 4 for 9, etc. Yeah. 4th and 9, 4th and 19, 4th and 7. Those are not good odds of making it. Granted, we've made them in the past, but teams know we're going for it on 4th down, and they're preparing for it. This just in, the bye week is favored by 14.5 points this week over the Lions. I had to make a joke. I got to do something. We got to make this better. And the coaching staff has got to be held accountable now. We know we lack talent on this roster. We expected the coaches to be able to coach them up. I still think 100% switching a scheme that took 13 weeks for this defense to start playing better and keeping 65% of the roster is the biggest problem
now,
on the defensive side of the ball.
Now, how bad would it be if they tried to switch the scheme up now, though? If it took them that long last year on that, then trying to just move it.
Well, you're talking about only the rookies would have to relearn it. Would be learning something new. Everybody else already knows that system other than Okuda. Correct?
For the most part, yes.
I mean, and they still ran a lot of man last year. So it fits. It fits. And most of the guys we drafted came out of 3-4 schools. Defensively.
I'll give you that, yeah.
So if you drafted guys from a 3-4 schools and you had a 3-4 roster with 65% of the roster, why are you trying to do a 4-2-5?
Beats the shit out of me.
I am so done with the negative Hutch crap. He is number 2 on the double-teamed edge in the NFL. Why? He has no support to scare the opposing team's offense. He is obviously scaring the crap out of teams if they are doubling him. Absolutely. We've said this. I mean, him and Myles Garrett have faced the most double teams this season. And Myles Garrett missed 2 weeks. Think about that, and he's number 1.
Myles Garrett's a beast.
He is a beast. But the fact that Hutch is number 2 on that list says a lot. I'm not wrong. And no, they're not doubling him on passing downs. They're doubling him on the running downs because in the first couple of games. Yeah, I know. There are 3 teams that run the 4-2-5, and all of them are failing this year. The Raiders, the Steelers, and the Lions.
There's another team that runs a 4-2-5.
Woohoo.
The Buffalo Bills.
The Buffalo Bills have consistently run a 4-2-5. That's their MO. I'm talking about the 3 teams that switched their scheme this year.
I agree. The 4-2-5, though, probably is one of my favorite schemes in the entire football. If it's It's a
Yeah,
very hard scheme.
it's a very hard scheme, and you have to have good to great front seven, or front six, technically,
And great.
and mediocre or better safe defensive backs.
Uh-huh.
By having average or less at all those positions, it's bad.
Big time bad.
No, it really isn't, Eric. It's a great defense if you have the personnel for it. We don't have the personnel for it. It's called square pegs, round holes. We've done this before.
Uh-huh.
We've seen this before.
For the 4-2-5 to work, you need to have consistent pressure from your defensive ends and your edge rush. I mean, from your defensive line and your edge rushers. Because you cannot ask your freaking safeties and your corners, who are supposed to play freaking primarily in a zone coverage scheme at that point, to cover for that long without that pressure.
Or a man/zone, like a 2-deep safety zone is what they usually run with it. It's man on the outside and everybody in the middle's in a zone. Yeah, and nobody does it good but the Bills. Get it right, Sean. Nobody does it good but the Bills.
Yes.
Because they've drafted for it.
Yeah, you know what? That too. The Bills have drafted almost that entire defense.
Yep.
Outside of Von Miller, who they signed, which was a great signing, by the way.
Yeah, and they use them everywhere. That's the other thing. Hutch has been a D end and an outside linebacker, and more productive at outside linebacker than he is at D end, even at Michigan. Why haven't we moved him? They said he practiced all week at outside linebacker. Why didn't they do it? They had him with his hand in the dirt, playing D end up against Trent Brown. They didn't even move him to the other side. Why not try him on the other side?
They don't move him. They don't stand him up. They don't kick him inside. The only thing I can honestly think about.
No, I didn't agree it's the urinal cake of the NFL. It's a good defense if you draft for it.
It's a very hard defense to play.
Right.
Now, the only reason I could think that they didn't put Hutch stand him up is because the rest of the team was having issues with him. Because even though he might look better when you stand him up, if the rest of the team looks like shit in that different defensive scheme, that could explain why not switching to it.
I mean, Annalise even got a sack yesterday.
Slid right in.
Yeah, he slid right through.
I'm so glad you're back to calling him Annalise. It just didn't seem right when you weren't calling him it.
Well, he'd been playing good, and he still played decent yesterday. I don't think they used Rodrigo enough yesterday. I had to look at the snap counts and get the percentages from it. But I didn't see him making a difference yesterday like we had seen.
No, the only thing I remember of him at all was he knocked Ramondre Stevenson out on the sideline. That's it. That's like all I can remember from him.
And Facebook user says, I think that's the best the Patriots have played since they had Brady. Every game this year has been close, but yesterday it was just a bad game. I think we will see a turnaround after the bye week. You're right. The scheme won't work with the guys we have. I've pretty much covered everything I have to say.
You have. You know what? This right here, the whole bye week thing. I'm not going to be that guy that buys into this, things are going to change after the bye week until I see something change. Do you know what I mean? Because as of right now, I have about as much faith.
I agree with this. We'll see how they play after the bye. That should tell us a story. Absolutely. If everybody comes back healthy, is supposed to come back, and I know they're saying they're keeping J-Mo out a little bit longer. I think it's a mistake. With Shark being hurt, if he doesn't come back next week, in week 7 versus the Cowboys, you're going to see more of the same, because that is one hell of a pressure front 7 that we're facing.
Yeah.
Because Cooper Rush didn't do shit, yet they still won.
Well, they ran for like 170 yards, too, which they haven't done since Dak was a rookie. But I agree with you 100% there. You need to get J-Mo back if you want to turn the season around right now. You need somebody that's going to be able to take a fast, quick slant and move with it because that ball's going to need to be out fast with Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence coming at him.
Yep. We need somebody that can streak across the field, catch it quick, and get a lot of yards. And yes, Amon-Ra St. Brown can do that, but he's not going to get you a 70-yarder against that defense. Because if J-Mo's not on the field, Trayvon Diggs is going to have a field day.
Yeah.
He actually looks like a better corner this year than he looked last year. He's not getting as many interceptions.
He's not gambling.
Right. He's not doing the gambling. He's actually playing. He's got more pass breakups this year than I've ever seen him had. And the QBR against him is in the 70s, which is where decent corners lie.
What was it last year? Like 130 or something like that?
It was 103.8. That's horrible. At one point, it was 120, but he did a little better towards the end of the year.
Yep. Now, this is what I'm thinking right here. Why? The best way to compare like what J-Mo can do for you. Look at last year's DeMar Chase. Where did most of his yards come from? Were they the long ball when he beat somebody? No. It was that little 5 to 7 yard slant across the middle that he broke for 40 and 50 yards at a clip.
Right. It was more because of his speed than anything.
Exactly. And that's what Williams would give you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
DJ Chark, yes.
The Patriots didn't even dominate the time of possession yesterday.
No. I think you guys actually had more ball longer than they did, didn't you?
No, they had 31.29. We had 28.39 or 21. They had 31.21. We had 28.39, which isn't that much of a difference.
Exactly. Didn't go off.
I want to thank my sponsors, A1 Tire and Auto Repair and Mad Lab Custom Creations. Both of them have been great to me all season. I'm sorry that this is short and sweet, but I don't think there's a lot more to talk about right now. I don't know what we can do. I
don't know, man. I don't know.
I also noticed that we got guys we aren't using. Micro Mike said that he was right.
Huh.
Rams? Rams about what?
How bad the Rams are and how it's going to be a top 10 pick?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we might end up with 2 top 10 picks.
Damn right. You know what? And you can't hate on that because that's still pretty nice. And it's a decent class there for defense.
Yeah. I mean, you got Will Anderson Jr., you got Jordan Battle. You got a lot of good players coming out. Our picks. Yeah, I know. Jordan
Battle.
But I just want to see what we look like with more people healthy. Because we got a lot of people coming back real soon. I agreed with you, Eric. You ain't got to keep saying it every week. We know he's not right. And he's making even more bonehead decisions than he usually does. He's leading the league in interceptions still.
Because he only knows how to throw to Cooper Kupp.
Well, Cooper Kupp is the only one getting separation for him. There's that. Bet Skoranek got open a few times and he missed them.
I just don't even understand how Cooper Kupp gets separation. He's not fast.
He just runs great routes. Eric Schott says Henry Ford is opening a kiosk in Ford Field. I mean, yes, we had 5 DBs go down, but 2 of them came back. Deshaun Elliott finished the game as well as Jeff Okudah. So they weren't major injuries. The rest of the injuries were major. Savion Smith has been released from the hospital. He has movement in all his extremities and has came home. And he's going to be seen by medical staff here. I'm waiting for another update on that.
He's in the protocol.
Yeah. I don't know how it was concussion. It was weird. It didn't look like that bad of a hit.
It looked like he jabbed his neck is what happened.
Right.
Real bad stinger.
But it was scary.
I agree. I know what that shit feels like, dude. I broke my neck in 07.
That being said, unless you got anything to add, Dan, other than the fact your Giants beat the Green Bay Packers for us, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anytime we can make Aaron Rodgers cry like a little girl, I'm all for it.
Savion was activated because Amani Oruwariye was benched for this game as a healthy scratch.
Let's see. What else can we say?
I noticed the Pats used a defense that I never saw before.
Patriots use a defense you never saw. They're base 3-4.
And look at that. Eric Sean says, Dan, he's happy for you, brother. Every Lions fan is happy when the Packers lose.
You know what? This is all I got to say to somebody. Somebody was like, oh, the Giants still suck. They're the worst 4-1 team ever. I was like, you know what? I don't give a fuck. We're 4-1.
That's right.
My team won. We haven't been good in 11 years. Leave me alone.
Right.
I don't know what it's.
No, the worst 11-1 team was the Steelers a couple years ago.
Which I don't get. They were freaking great that first 11 games, and then what the fuck happened?
And I said, look who they played. They played a whole bunch of bottom feeders early, and then they came back to play the division twice throughout the rest of the season. I said, if they win one more game, they'll get lucky.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. Well, that too, but if you watch that season, you watch Roethlisberger's arm just like die.
Yeah, he had a noodle arm to end his career.
Yep. You know who else did? Hayden Manning.
Yep.
So you expect with them to hit as much as they do. And throw
Yep.
the ball as those guys did.
Well, this has been Kneecap Biting with Smokin' Jeremy B. I'm happy for the commenters that came in.
Yes, as always,
Karen Rogers is buying a new skirt. Yeah, probably after that game. What did he throw? 3 picks?
No, I think it was only 1 or 2. And
I know he's got like 5 or 6. He's still got more than our quarterback has right now.
And ends the game on 2 batted passes. Like, wow.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on, everybody, and talking with me. I just had to get my rant out. I had to say what I had to say. My birthday weekend was still a success. I spent great time with friends and family. I participated in some inebriation.
He had fun with the adult beverages.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Well, have a great night, and thanks for tuning in.